If you're looking to take your grow to the next level without guessing your way through it, crop steering is your new best friend. Come on, let's break it down. But before we do, today's video is brought to you by Real Growers Grow Dots, the easiest way to feed your high-value plants. You mix grow dots in once at the beginning of your grow, and they feed your plants all the way to harvest. You don't have to worry about nutrient burn or nutrient lockout. Grow Dots does all the hard work for you. Check them out over at realgrowers.com. And while you're there, use coupon code Scotty420 to get 20% off your first order. Now let's get back to the show. Come on, you want to crop steer?
Maybe. What do you mean when you say crop steering?
I mean, let's steer in the direction we want to go. You know, do I want dank buds, man? I'm going to steer in this direction. Do I want big, giant hemp plants? I'll steer in this direction.
Okay, so we're talking about little things that we can do to steer the direction of the plant. Specifically, this is a wide-ranging topic.
Yeah.
Which aspects are we going to be talking about today?
Yeah, this one we've only got, the one short form here. So I'm going to break it down into three of the really broad aspects of crop steering. Crop steering is a huge topic. There's so many aspects of it. There's super cropping and training. There's advanced irrigation. Let's get into some of the basic ones that I think we're all already doing. It'll be really easy to understand.
Okay, so the first foundational thing about crop steering.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about it. It's lighting, right? Lighting control, when you veg, how big you veg, how intense, when you choose to flower, what spectrum you use, all that stuff is steering our crop, right?
Okay, so yeah, by taking control of the lights in your grow, you can steer the crop to go where you want it to go.
Absolutely. And the easiest one to think of is, what do? We flip them down to 12-12, right? We're steering our crop towards flowering. Right? If we want to steer our crop towards growing big, we use 18 hours of light. Sometimes we use 24 hours of light, but you will steer your crops to growing big.
Okay, so the idea here is, depending on how big you want your plants to grow, you can steer that by taking control of when you flip over to 12-12.
I can steer for a sea of green if I want by doing a 7-day veg maybe. I can steer for, a giant harvest growing huge trees if I do a 6 or an 8-week veg. So yeah, I can absolutely steer these to where I want them to go. So we just talked about photo period. Let's talk about intensity. You can absolutely crop steer with intensity. If you're growing at 400 ppfd and you want to steer it up to big fat buds and you go up to 800 or 1000 ppfd, you are steering that towards the direction of big fat buds.
That's in nature. When the days get shorter and it triggers the plant to go into flower, They naturally get less light intensity as well.
Absolutely. When we're doing it in flowering, we're in this 18-hour veg. Then they go in the flower. It's 12 hours. We've just reduced their light substantially. We have to dial that up. We have to dial that light back up if we want to get those, if we want to steer towards those big fat buds. And it really does. Don't forget, it costs a lot more money to dial the light up, the air conditioning up. Do we want to steer for that? If we're steering for these giant buds, I know the direction to turn.
Okay, so we talked about how to steer your plants with light hours, how to steer them with light intensity.
Yeah.
What's the other aspect of light that you can use to steer your plants?
Spectrum, the color of the light. What do we know about the lights? We used to use the metal halides, the blues, and they would keep things short and squat. Red light, we talk about HPS used to give us a lot of red light, or the far red lights. Those things make plants stretch. So you can control now, you can steer your crop to either have it be really, I want to steer towards short, I want to steer towards really tall. Really depends what I'm doing. If I'm an extract farmer, if I've got 10-foot ceilings, I might want to steer from to be big and tall. If I'm growing in a tent, I might want to steer from to be short and fat. You can do this through these environmental cues. And let's not forget, we can steer with UVB too. Right? UVB makes, I keep on doing this. We're steered towards the trichomes, man. UVB makes more trichomes, right? It's a stressor. It brings out more trichomes. So if I want to steer towards that, if I'm looking to grow the crazy dankest weed I can, I'm going to add some UV and steer towards insane trichome land.
Okay, I get how I can use lights to steer my crops.
Sure.
You said in the show notes, you said nutrients also you can use for steering your crops.
Come on, you act like you don't know. But what do we do when we go steer towards flower development? When we're in veg, we give it a whole bunch of nitrogen because we're steering for green growth, right? We know that nitrogen supports green growth, new leaves and all that stuff, new stems. Now, when we want to steer towards flower development, what do? We cut down that nitrogen. We give it that signal. Hey, look, we don't want all that green growth. We want to start building flowers. So give it more phosphorus and potassium as a ratio.
So that's why we cut back on the nitrogen when we switch over to flower.
Absolutely. We're steering. And when we say steering, it's really signaling is what we're doing. These are signals we're giving the plant so it can change its behavior, I guess. Do plants have behavior? They do, right?
I think so.
Behave.
Okay, so I get how nutrients can be used to steer the plant. You said that there's other additives that we can use to steer our plants as well?
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen these bloom additives, things like the amino acids. The bloom booster is actually a PK booster. That's actually food. But things like amino acids, those are building blocks of terpenes and cannabinoids. So if you supply those and the plant doesn't have to assemble them themselves, it's able to build those more efficiently. It's same with that tricantanol. It just lowers the amount of energy that it takes for the plant to assemble these terpenes and cannabinoids, which is really what we want.
Right. And then I hear a lot of growers talk about something called winter frost.
Again, I don't exactly know. They don't tell you exactly what's in these things, but there are signals that the plant gives in nature. It makes jasminates. The plant senses that it's supposed to finish. Winter frost, I'm guessing from the play on words in the title, that it makes the plant think that winter is coming so that it finishes up. So there's all these hormonal signals that you can give the plant to steer the crop in one way or the other. They want to steer the crop towards finishing and ripening, so they're going to send these signals. Okay,
let's move into the third aspect of crop steering that we're going to talk about today.
Can you guess what it would be if you watch this show long enough? Environment, man. Environment is going to help you dial in that plant behavior. Come on, so if we're going to start off with temperature, right? Temperature goes hand in hand with VPD, right? Temperature, humidity, VPD. What do we know, man? We want to, in this middle of the summer when things are growing crazy, it's raining all the time, it's hot, it's humid. That's what we want to simulate. We want to simulate summer. So we're giving it nice warm conditions, a decent amount of humidity. What do they call that? Lower VPD.
I think there's like a sweet spot, though, because if you go too hot and humid, you're attracting bugs and molds. You want to find that sweet spot.
Absolutely, man. But my point is, during veg, you're going to have it a little bit more hot and humid. And now once you flip the flower, what are we doing? We're going to steer towards bud production and cannabinoid and terpene production. So we want to turn those temperatures and that humidity down a little bit.
Okay, let's talk about temperature differential. Because it's not just about how hot it is, but playing with the temperature between night and day can also affect plant growth, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is really cool. You can use temperature differential, the difference between your daytime temperature and your nighttime temperature, to control the stretch of your plants. And if you have a high differential, so if it's 10 degrees warmer in the day than it is at night, you're going to get a fairly stretchy plant, just like you would in summertime, like in nature. If you want to try to limit the stretch, and you have a very similar daytime and nighttime temperature, your plants won't stretch as much. So they even do weird stuff like torture these plants. They'll make the nights warmer than the days. They call it a negative differential. And that really makes compact plants. That's one of them things they do. It can only do in a lab, I should say.
And I would think with the lights on, it's naturally going to be hotter when the lights are on.
Sure.
How do I get that differential to not be so wide?
You run an air conditioner. You run an air conditioner with daytime and nighttime temperature settings, yeah.
And you can usually control that with like the lung room. If I'm growing in a tent or if I'm growing in a grow room, you put an air conditioner or separate air conditioning in the grow room itself.
That's what I have, yeah. That's what I do. But the idea here is control your differential. Keep your differential really close if you want short fat plants. If you're growing for extraction, you want plants with tons of surface area, run a decent differential, man. Grow some beast out there. So it's really what you want. And the last part of environment, if I'm trying to crop steer, is CO2. Remember, CO2 is the food, right? Light's the energy, CO2 is the food. How much food am I going to give them? That's certainly going to determine, the direction of my crop, right?
And normally, ambient CO2, I think is what you call it?
Yeah, it's about 400. You can get that just by circulating fresh CO2 from your, lung room or whatever. And that's good for 500-600 ppfd of light. But when you start dialing your light up, 800, 900, 1,000 ppfd, got a lot of energy. It's a lot of chomping going on. You better have some food to feed it, or else you're just wasting your energy.
So how do I get more CO2 into my grow? Just go in there and breathe on my plants?
I just went in there about an hour ago and breathed inside my clone dome. Yes, it works. You can hang out in your grow. You can hang out in your lung room. You can use a CO2 burner if you have a decent sized room. You can use tanks like I do. There's all sorts of ways to supplement CO2. The point is when you do it, it will steer your crop to larger yields.
Okay, so you mentioned earlier turning up your intensity when you turn your light hours down.
Yeah.
Let's say I turn my intensity up to 1,000 ppfd.
Sure.
Not sticking with ambient 400 parts per million CO2. What do I want to be shooting for if I'm at 1,000 ppfd?
I've been running them the same. I've been running them, if I'm running 1,000 ppfd of light, I run 1,000 ppm of CO2. 800, 1,200, and 1,200. I'm playing around with that rule. It's a pretty simple rule, and it seems to work really well. So that's the one I'll deliver. Hey, but those are just my fundamental tips on crop steering. We'll get into it more later on, but what about you? You got any crop steering techniques that you love to use? Let me know in the comments. And come on, if you like this video, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. Share this one with another grower you know. And come on, check out the other couple videos YouTube's recommending. We sure think you'll dig them.